This is Steve Schiffman, and I want to thank you for joining me today in this particular podcast webcast that we try to put out every single day to help you as a salesperson be more effective, and if you're a sales manager, be more effective in working with your people. I think that's so crucial, and I think it's so important. But I want to talk to you about something else today because I think it's important for you to have some time to reflect upon what you're doing. You know, what's interesting to me is I've been doing this now for maybe 40 years. And the other day, someone asked me, well, how did you get into it? Why did you get into sales? And it had nothing to do with my father, my mother, aunt, uncle, or anybody else. It was something that I decided I wanted to do, and I wanted to teach it in a certain way, and I did. But that's not the answer that I get from most people. When I ask salespeople, well, how did you get into this? Why did you get into it? What happened? What happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago? They usually say to me that they kind of fell into it. You know, it was a job. It was something that happened, and then they got good at it, or they didn't. Maybe they went to a brokerage house first and insurance second, and then somebody else's place, and kind of went and didn't quite work out. But they're there now, and they're kind of stuck there. And that word stuck there is a thing that I want to break you of thinking about. I don't want you to think about sales as being a stuck there kind of job. It has an opportunity for you to do so many different things. I think of sales as having the freedom to go out during the day and meet new people. You have the freedom to call people you haven't spoken to before and ask them what they're doing and how they're working. You have the freedom to actually be or do as much as you want to do each and every day in order to succeed. And there's really no limit in terms of success. Now, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to correct that statement because there is a limit to the amount of money you're going to make. Salespeople always think, well, I'm going to make $1 million. That's not going to happen that way. But there is no limit to the successful feeling you're going to have as you go ahead each day and make a living and meet new people. I think there are a couple of things that you as a salesperson should really start to ask. When you meet somebody the first time, find out something about them. You see, if you're just so busy telling people about what you do, nothing comes across. But if you say to Mr. Prospect, I'm just curious, how did you get into this business? How did you start this? Why did you start it? You will find a wealth of information, and you'll find stories behind that that really are intriguing, that are interesting, that gives you kind of a thrill about what you're doing. See, your business is the same as their business. They've got to sell too. Somehow, every company has to sell. And if you ask somebody, gee, I'm just curious, how did you get into this business? And they tell you the story. Now, I'm going to tell you something. They don't tell you the story because everybody likes to talk about themselves. That's what everybody says. Everybody, oh, you know, everybody likes to talk about themselves. No, that's not the reason they just tell you that. They tell you the story because you asked the question, because you were sincere in what you wanted to know. You said, I'm just curious. How did you get into this business? How did you start it? How did you end up making that? You know, there's a guy on television who sells the pillow. I mean, he started from nothing. How? Why? What created that? I mean, he tells the story, but did that really do it? Is that the guy? That what happened to him? Or the person, I'm dealing with somebody who creates a concrete precast mold. Why? How did that happen? Where did it come from? And I understand it. I deal with somebody who also sells wigs. And as I try to understand that, I see where it came from and why she does that and what the bigger mission is. See, that's the whole key. If you start to understand the bigger mission of what everybody's trying to accomplish, you will be a better person for it, and you will be participating in something that's bigger than you. See, I believe that as a salesperson, you are participating in something that's bigger than you. It's bigger than life. You're creating something that would not happen otherwise. Nothing happens if somebody doesn't sell. Listen to that. Nothing happens if somebody doesn't sell. I took that little plaque from, I want to tell you, Merrill Lynch. 100 years ago. It was on somebody's desk. I said, you mind if I have this? I'd like to borrow this forever. I took it. I actually said forever. And I have it. And it reminds me that what I do triggers off a million other things. And that's the great thing about selling. It triggers off other things. And that's what you have to think about. It's not just the sale, it's what you trigger. It's how you give people the business that it's the right to be in business, how you get business for yourself and make some money and have a good time and meet some people. All this is going on in your world. You're creating something. You create it every single day. Anyway, as I've told you, I am pleased to do a free program for you, 20 minutes. If you simply write to me, web, through internet or my web page, and just write to me and say, hey, listen, I'm interested. Free, nothing. You will lose nothing. And we'll talk a little bit and see if I can't help you. So this is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me, as always. And as always, you humble me by your presence.